this project is all about how we can connect arts education with the topic of sustainable development. So this is a very important and very essential issue, I think, for the future of arts education. And InSEA is in a society that is fostering discussions about these very relevant topics. And I'm more than happy that you are now joining us today for this webinar. Within this project, there was also one important question is how we can relate a specific methodology to this essential topic of sustainability. And Martha was responsible for a very interesting approach using visual diaries and visual thinking in respect to this topic. So I'm more than happy that we have now Martha and her wonderful team from Thessaloniki with us. They will present their ideas, their results in respect to this methodology. Thank you all for, oh, now we have Victoria with us. Hello, Victoria. She is the coordinator waving her. Thank you very much, Martha, for this wonderful preparation of this webinar, promising webinar. I hand over to you.
Thank you, Ernst. I'm Martha Ioannidou. I am a Doctor of Art History and Museology, and I teach as a Senior Assistant Professor at the Faculty of Education at Aristotle University. I'm partner at the CARE project, and I'm very happy that we have started involving people, not only artists and art teachers, but in general, generalist teachers and students in the idea of visual journaling, which is the subject of our webinar today. And we wish to explore different aspects of it with the people that will make the presentations. I will just say a few words about visual journaling. I am sure that all of you that connect today, and we are very happy to have you in that journey today, because it is a visual journey, as a matter of fact, what we're doing today. If you consider that we are in the 21st e-generation, we are all on cameras, we will record what we are doing, we will exchange empirics and experiences, and that will remain on board for all of us to go back and think again and again of what we are doing. So even that webinar itself, it's a kind of very modern or postmodern kind of visual journaling. So what we are experiencing with visual journaling is a practice which originally was shared by artists and creative minds, but now allows everyone to experience and document their discoveries. Journaling is a unique, I would say, pathway to a lifelong habit of self-reflections, a practice that can help us make meaning of our lives. We can write from memories and experiences, create imagery from our writing, and hopefully discover more about ourselves in this process. It is more than a traditional sketchbook. We shouldn't really combine it with a classic artist sketchbook. And it doesn't need any specific talent to keep a visual diary, as it combines usually visual and verbal, words and imagery in any way everyone wishes to. This marriage finds different techniques, mixed media, collages, assemblages, printmaking, and all of our experience become really a record of our thoughts, an album of our lives, a daily planner, a plan to-do list, or whatever we wish to record in our memory. This fact that we can record from our memory makes it also very important in the project of education, because we can return back and see our progress and our growth. And this also, if we use it in the class, means that we can use it as a metacognitive awareness, formative assessment in formal education, and the most important, reflective learning for us and our students. I will now give the web step to our first speaker, which will be a very talented young teacher, Sofia Kotsopoulou. Sophia has her BA and MA in education. She is part of the CARE project. She had a very successful experience of schools abroad, apart from Greece, in London, in Spain, and last year she was in Portugal at the Centro Social Paroquial Veracruz, and she will present the excellent work I think she has done there for Project CARE, with a mixture of students from different places and different backgrounds. And Sophia has implemented the idea of visual journaling first to herself, which is very important, as teachers can give a very good paradigm, a prototype for their children, and she will also show how the work have been done. The second speaker will be Dorotheos Orphanidis, an art educator, artist himself, with studies at the schools of fine arts in Greece. He works as an art educator in primary, secondary, and higher education. And Dorotheos will also make a very good presentation, I think, by combining what we can do on paper and what we can do at the post-COVID era, from visual diaries on paper to online diaries. It's something that he also tries with his students. And then I will go to artists, Lena Thanasopoulou. She is from Thessaloniki, but she has spent a quite long time in England. She has studied she has studied as artist, visual artist, director, and filmmaker at the Chelsea College of Art, the London Institute, and she has also studied and continued her MA in Goldsmith. She has also been a resident and fellow in Centrum für Kunst und Urbanistik in Berlin in June and July 2015, and Lena will offer us her important experience from herself as an artist, how important it was for her to give us a visual diary and the value of those diaries in the present time, her thoughts to detect inventiveness via keeping a daily sketchbook. And then we go to Katerina Veroutsou, a fine freelance illustrator with excellent examples from tales, for children's tales, and an art educator herself. She has been for years in Canada, and now she lives in the beautiful island of Limnos in Greece, where she will present us her art-made workshops and the very important journey that you can have there, a twofold, as a matter of fact, journey. If you go there and by exploring with her help the unique island of Limnos, you can also have a journey of self-discovery by creating a visual travel journal yourself. These are our main speakers. At the end, I will give you also the presentation of the Scottish artist Morag Thompson Merriman, that she couldn't be together with us, but she has sent me a short presentation. And Maria Lecciu, our beloved host and partner of InSEA, that will also comment on visual journaling. So you have now the program, and Sophia, you can start.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I'm Sophia.
I'm sorry. Before we start, we would like to inform our attendees that this webinar is recording. I hope everybody's okay with that. Okay, now we can start. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Don't worry. Hello, everybody. I'm Sofia Kotsopoulou, and I'm a general teacher in primary schools. I'm so glad and happy to be here and share a part of myself, a part of my experiences. I will share my screen. Give me a minute. Perfect. Can you see? Okay. Perfect. Everything started last year when I was doing my Erasmus volunteering project in Portugal, as Mrs. Martha Ioannidou said, in Centro Social Paroquial de Veracruz. Until Martha Ioannidou gave me the opportunity to participate to CARE project, a project that combines art, teaching, and sustainability and social issues that I'm really interested in. What was really important for me surprised me is how something so personal became eventually to be something that I start sharing mutually our experiences with more and more people. Sorry, I cannot. Really sorry. I cannot pass through my. Okay. I start about my diary. I chose to share with you some pages that they are really important for me. The first one to the left is about the environment and the connection that people has nowadays with the nature. The second one is about the position of women in nowadays. The third one is about my fear of emptiness, both mentally and psychologically. And the last one is about migration. Okay, to be honest, last year it was a really chaotic year for myself because I had finished my bachelor degrees, but I didn't feel ready to start teaching at schools. So I want to run away and go to Portugal, doing what it was familiar with for me, helping people in need in this social center. I was coordinating with a colleague the organizing of donated clothes, furniture, stuff, and food that people give to distribute to people in need. In all of this chaotic procedure, I was keeping a visual diary because it was a type of our self-evaluation for CARE project, and really helped me. I really find little treasures where, as you can see, books. So I thought that it's a really good opportunity to use it for my personal diary. So I was so interested in how this I can connect it with my job, that is teaching. Really, it was really helpful for me putting in order my thoughts and at the same time create a project for children. The final artworks, it was this collage. The first one is talking about the public space. The question is, who is responsible of taking care of our public space? The answer is that is the authorities and not the citizens that I would hope to be. They decorate our public space with the majority of time with statues, but this status glorify prominent people. What kind of prominent people? People that the majority of time we glorify that they helped our nations. Men outnumber women, and I think this disconnection that people will have with our public space and taking care of it make us be far apart. And this is the reason that we vandalize the statues, our public properties. As you can see, my artwork is not vandalized because I couldn't do it. So what I would like to create for my project is to show to the children that if we really be active citizens and we take care about our community, it's a part of our evolution. The second artwork, the idea came from the civil disobedience movement in Myanmar. I didn't know about that, there is a dictatorship and there was the demise of democracy. So I learned it because of the contribution of art through this movement that artists started using the three fingers that they were inspired from the movie of Hunger Games. So I was really interested to use art to talk about social issues with children. And the last one is about how the microcosmos built the macrocosmos. In all of this process, is really important for me the meaning of the circle concerning the community. And that means, if you think about that, we are sitting down in a circle, eating together, or have meetings together, making our assemblies, or dancing our folklore dances. And also the circular flow of our energy, of our energies, and also the planet system. So every dot symbolizes each person, that when we reflect all together, we create something amazing. And I would like to just share it with the children and make a project that they will just share our experiences. Now, in this project, in this experience, in Portugal, I was the responsible person organizing the basement. But in this place, there is also another sector where children come after school, doing their homework, eating, and make activities. Because of CARE project, I had the opportunity to already done a project there with them. So this time I had the opportunity, I proposed to my coordinator for this project that I create, in order to combine the children from the immigrant families that we had and the children that they were coming after school. This is the start. It was the invitation, the card that we sent to their parents to allow their children participate to our project. The final result, as you can see here, each child has to create its own carpet, and then we combine, but at the same time they will make a book, a storytelling book, that it's a kind of visual journey. I will explain you later. And I would like to present this to a multicultural festival they organized in September. So to children that to be in reality active citizens. Here are the artworks that I used. As you can see, they have all one common thematic approach, and it's about migration. My idea came from the fairy tale of Jeff Bourdeau, The Quilt Maker's Gift. This is what I made for showing my coordinator the lesson plan, and I thought that it's a nice idea to show to you. Now, my idea was to play the game of hidden treasure. So I hide all the artworks in the classroom, and the children found them. I divided into teams, and they have to discuss about the artworks. Then we discussed their thoughts in the class plenary, and we defined the subjects of migration. The second hour, we're sitting down in a circle, and we're setting positions, and this is all the fabrics I found to the basement. So they wrote down questions in these fabrics, question about what they would like to ask from people that they migrate to their countries, but also the children that they just arrived in Portugal, to set questions to the children that they are citizens of Portugal. So to start this discussion and sharing. After sharing all of these questions and answering the questions, I explain them what we're gonna do the next time. Of each children create its own carpet or quilt. Perfect. And then they created from the fabrics but each child creates also his or her own book storytelling, a kind of visual journal. So I would like to write down and to create as the way that they want the family story, how they came. Here we discuss about migration from different cities from our own countries as well, and of course to write down their feelings. After this, the last time we combine all of the small pieces, and the aim was just to sit around our macrocosmos that we built and share these experiences, play the game of guessing which carpet belonged to which child, depending the way that they made the story, their visual journey. Okay, and here I chose to show to you some pictures. Unfortunately, in reality, I couldn't make it in that way because it was the last month that I was there. And also it was summer. That means that a lot of children were in vacation with their parents, but we changed it a little bit and we did it. Here you can see are all the fabrics that I found. I organized them on colors, and then here they make they start to make their carpets. You can see it was really fun for them because they were wearing also the fabrics. Here is outside sitting around the tree. It was really interesting for them and funny. And here are their final results, but unfortunately we didn't combine them because they want to keep them in order them to remember us, because my colleague and I were immigrants, and it was interesting how they asked so many questions to us. That's it. Thank you so much. It's the end, but I hope to don't be the end and to be the start of something new, and to just share our experiences is really important for all. And I would be really happy if you shared with me your experiences.
Thank you, Sophia. It's really exciting to see again all the material from Portugal. I enjoyed while I was following the work you were doing there. I will just remind one of the things that you've said to all of us, because I think there is the gist that what is important for a teacher, even a generalist teacher, is that visual journals, when we keep them for ourselves, they help us to put together our thoughts and make our educational plans and the connection, so that we can also offer very nice, very exciting ideas to our students, that they can also have that as an example for themselves, to keep a visual journey, to make plans for themselves. And this helps us in our life planning. It's like a planner, we said. It's a sketchbook, it's a notebook, it's the planning of our to-do list. Thank you, Sophia. Any questions to Sophia now, or would you like us to keep all the questions at the end? If anybody wishes to ask something straight away to Sophia, please do so. Otherwise, we will open the discussion at the end. Okay, we hear a few voices. Well, Dorotheos, you can be the next one. Thank you, Sophia, again.
And sorry, I was a little bit nervous, but thank you so much.
It was perfect. Don't worry. We all enjoyed it, as you see from the comments.
Everything is okay with the sharing?
Yes, but we hear something. I don't know if it's from you.
I think it was a TV. Now, is it okay with the sound? Okay. Initially, I want to congratulate Sophia. the thing, the thematic that she presented was fantastic, and it was great feedback for us. The whole citizenship thematic and with the symbols and with the materials was just perfect. And for me, it is really nice this Saturday morning to have the chance to collaborate with people from different places. And this is really fun. Sorry. Now, in the beginning, I would like to express my appreciation to Martha and InSEA, and also would like to thank you for the opportunity to present my artwork and also my students' artwork in the primary and secondary education in Western Thessaloniki. I am a visual artist and an educator, and I'm interested mostly in expression for me and my students as well. Through the course, and also I have a big issue. I want to follow the curriculum. We make an effort to cover a wide range of objects and techniques in visual art class, and as well as art history. The produced artistic work is characterized by multimodality and versatility. But for myself, I take into account the factor that is time, especially for art classes, because in Greece, we have in every class 1 hour per week. And also, it is really crucial that for our students, long-term interruptions cause of the COVID pandemic. It is very important to give our students the opportunity of a completely personalized canvas to express and create something like these calendars, the e-journals. I consider them a buffer zone for them, and because it is important for the educational process to feel more comfort and to feel more casual. I give them the opportunity to do something different and out of the book, something relaxing. I also propose some thematics like days for people with special needs, or different thematic as well, like the environment or literature or something else. Art journaling is a visual diary where ourselves and our students can creatively express their ideas, thoughts, feelings, memories, and emotions through any type of art form. They also have endless possibilities for artistic experimentation, and they can do anything they want. They can write, they can draw, they can sketch, they can paint, they can make collages. I propose them ideas, like I previously said, but they can do anything they want. I want to focus as an educator mostly in the visual, visual literacies and the expressions that that my students have, and how they react, and and I do not mind if they do not write something, or if they want to make a statement with words. I love the freedom of art forms and the concepts they have, being able to write anything they want, and I do not have the need to be judgmental, not me, and for my students also. It is time for these exercises, it's time for experimenting, for drawing, making memories is really important, and to put their thoughts on paper. They can also write random song lyrics and things that mean something to them. Also, for me, art journals is a form of documentation, for my students and for me also, for self-expression and self-exploitation. The journal you see is from the secondary education from my senior students. Some of them are 65 years old or 70 years old. And as you can see, they are, for them, it is more stressful to create something to make a literacy, word literacy or something else. They are more, it is more difficult for them. And but I can now say that art journals for them has become a form of therapy and self-care. While teaching art journaling makes my students say that they feel more relaxing and they feel better because they do something more creative, and it's environment, it is a casual environment for them. In these slides, you can. I want to showcase my journals because I want to combine the field experience and the field exercises from the classes, the art classes, and I want to combine them with the thematic of digital literacy I have as an academic interest because I'm a postdoc fellow in the university. I consider them as blogging and e-journals as an exceptional tool for evaluation in what I do and my students as well, and also for communication. This one is for sharing and for academic thematics, and share this e-journal is for research thematics that I have. And for me, it is extremely important the fact that we must extrovert and with e-blogging and with also social networks. And I want to make my art classes open classes with social media and also with the applications, the computer applications. It is very important to underline all forms of class practices and exercises that are means of also evaluations for us and gives us feedback in what we do. I mostly care about the reusage of materials and eco-friendly paper making. That's why I make for the journals book binding. It is really creative to make something with your hands. We saw that previously with Sophia and with the other presenters, and this is something we all love. And the combination with the hand making and also with the new technologies, because in the post-COVID era, we can see a dynamic for the new technologies and digital literacy in general. And I think this is a complete circle about e-journals. The sad part is that when because I have first graders and second graders, 6, 7, 8 years old, sometimes it is really difficult to keep an archive because it is most of the times they lost what they do. That's why I do not have a lot of things to present to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you indeed, Dorotheos. I found at least 2 things from the many that we have discussed all this period very interesting. One, that older students find it more difficult, and we can return back when we will have questions on discussing why older people, somebody would think that for an older person, for an older student, it would be less difficult because they have experiences, they can use better techniques, etc. But you can tell us your experience. And the second one, I think that you opened a very interesting issue and important on whether social media, Instagram, e-blogging, Pinterest, all of this can really be considered a way of keeping a visual journal. If it is, this is a question, whether we can consider of that visual journaling. And if we consider it, then how we can really train our students to use this media in that way, and train them also knowing the pros and cons of this practice, which involves also exhibiting themselves in wider audiences than having a personal visual journal just for themselves. Thank you very much for all that. Any questions straight away to the authors, or we can pass to Lena and then we can discuss everything at the end. Does anybody wish to say something right now? Okay, thank you. Lena?
Thank you.
Thank you, the authors.
Hello to everyone. I am Lena Athanasopoulou, and I'm a visual artist. Really, the first thing I want to say is to thank Martha for giving me this opportunity. I really mean it. And it's the first time I am presenting something that I have made in such a context. So I'm very happy about that. Let me share my screen. Here, okay. What I will present to you today are my parts of my visual diaries, my sketchbooks, and I will go back and forth in time because some of them are from my student years and some of them are from my present practice. I'm a bit nervous because I never show them to anyone. It's something really private. So it's a strange feeling to share them with you, but it's very important for me. So my sketchbooks have different formats and different qualities of paper. So I can use pencils or I can use watercolors to draw or markers. As I said before, some are from my years as a student and some from my near past, where actually being an artist is a struggle in many ways, since I'm not a student anymore. So I have multiple roles in my everyday life, and I consider such a practice extremely important. I edited those pages that I'm going to show you because wanting to create a new story, and as Martha said at the beginning, creating actually a new visual sketchbook via the connections that will be made. So isn't this the unique quality of a visual diary? Trying to rethink, to re-examine, to reconnect to past ideas, and not to necessarily reach a monumental conclusion, which I think for artists is a bit of a trap, because we always want to find something extremely new and avant-garde, but this may block us a lot of times. So being against any monumentality in my practice anyway, I believe that touching gently an idea, a delicate idea, and passing it and bringing it forward to the present by keeping it in my sketchbook gives me an opportunity to re-examine it in the future and probably give it a different meaning. So I will try to discuss that material with you, focusing on notions that are really fundamental in my practice, which are time, memory, the idea of value, the idea of power, and of course, representation, which is extremely fundamental. So these are some of my sketchbooks. They vary in sizes and qualities, as I said, of paper before, and formats, of course. Some of them are easy actually to take a piece of paper out and probably add it somewhere else, and some not. So this is what I am facing every time, a blank page, which is very difficult to deal with. So everything started when I was a student and I was asked by my tutors to actually keep a sketchbook because they would have to examine it, to evaluate it, sorry. So I wasn't familiar with that until then, and it was a fundamental obligation of mine. Which was a great pleasure because since a teenager, I was practicing collage. So it was actually a natural evolution to me. It all involved images of and thoughts of my present life. So until now, I always keep magazines and newspapers and look at them once and twice again. So trying to pick out images and words. And I have created a different kind of sketchbooks that I organize them. So actually, I make a collage via all of these imagery and via drawing and writing, because I realize writing as a way of actually drawing. So I believe when I started keeping sketchbooks, it actually helped me a lot in order to discover a new self, the one of a BA student and an artist. It gave me something like a proof of living and creating in an unknown culture, because I lived in Greece, so I had to move to England, to London. So walking in the city of London became an everyday routine to me, which made me connect to the idea, of course, of the Flanese. My sketchbook became a platform where I gathered thoughts and ideas that proved the existence of those endless walks. I usually, even masking tape, or I used it as a material to show something on my sketchbooks, or even pieces of works by other artists. I would cut and paste and make small collages that reflected the ideas and feelings that I had at this particular moment in time. I like using small drawings that represent things that I believe are not representable, like, for example, tension or smell or anything that is that cannot represented by a camera. So usually
Lena, I'm sorry to interrupt, but they are asking because they are excited with your artwork. If you can share your screen as a full screen, because they would like to see your work better. I apologize for interrupting. If it's possible, and if it doesn't really cause a problem to you.
I would like to apologize for not doing it properly, but it's my first webinar, so I'm sorry. Let me see how I can do this. View.
You go to view, I think, or to slide.
I found it.
Okay.
Is it better? Like this? Let me see.
Yes, it is. It is.
I'm so sorry to everyone for that.
Right.
Let me see. So yes, so as you see here, I usually try and connect images and making small drawings of feelings that I had in that particular place that I took those images, and trying to connect them as like keeping a memory. So a photograph is never enough. And the sketchbook gives this opportunity to connect media in a way that itself is more explanatory of the current situation at the time. Coming back to the present, I would like to show that, which is a small video I took with my phone, because thinking about what Dorotheo said, digital sketchbooks, it's very interesting to connect media and actually use media in order to grasp moments in time that you find valuable. I was waiting in the post office, for example, and it was actually a 15-minute that I had to kill. And I really hate killing time. So I tried to look around me. I didn't have a piece of paper at the moment. So I used my phone to record something that was extremely beautiful at that moment, the light or the movement. And via this presentation that gave me the opportunity to actually create a page in a digital sketchbook, connecting that video to an image that I'd recently had. And what I really want to point here is that for me, keeping a diary sometimes using multiple media, as I said before, is very important because I can get really lost in obligations of my everyday life, and things that may seem small, like how those leaves move, may just pass away and forget them. But they are actually not small and unimportant. They're really important for an artist, a thinker, because they may become the beginning of something larger, not talking about the value of it, but a larger project, for example. So I think the most important thing for myself is actually that idea of evaluating my present situation and what I'm dealing with every day. So nothing is actually unimportant. Everything is important. And reminding myself that is the only way to remind myself that is keeping a sketchbook. Now I'll go back in time again. I'll show you some of my images that I did as a student, where this sketchbook has a different format. I use pieces of paper of it, cut it, and then place it again back to it. So it's something like a display case, but it is actually a sketchbook because that's where I took the paper from. And again, I'm concerned here with all those values that I believe are part of every piece of artwork. And I feel that they are not actually represented. They are not representable, like the tension or the feelings or the sound or the smell. So I try to make those drawings to kind of grasp the non-representable. Another element is I have a routine. Every morning I watch the news when I wake up, and I always have my sketchbook next to me. By watching everything that happens around the world, or people that I will never meet, or all those politicians that feel just so far away, it's an opportunity to actually bring them in my living room and say hello. So I try to make really quick sketches of people and faces, or even objects. It's something that I do very, very quickly because they just disappear from the screen very quickly. News change. This is just something that I do every day. Like I lost mine. So another thing is that it's really stressful for an artist having to reach conclusions, to say, oh, this is what I did, and now it has to be very important. So I think sketchbook is a place of freedom, actually, where you don't really have that, because you usually do not show your sketchbook to anyone. It's just for yourself. So you're actually free to make mistakes. And it's a great space for feeling that sense of freedom. And for me, it's a great space. Actually, I use a lot in my collages, bits and pieces that I would naturally just put them in the bin. I really hate trashing pieces of paper. So it's quite interesting to use pieces of paper that I would actually throw away and make something of it, something that reflects my present state, because this is what a sketchbook, I believe, is. It reflects the presence, and it gives you the opportunity to go back and think about it in a different way, without judgment, not placing any judgment on it. Everyone judges us every day, so it's a great space to feel free. Or even when I used to do printmaking, pieces that I would throw away, I would never throw away. I would just put them in my sketchbook and add some words, thinking of why do I believe this is very important. And these are just some bits and pieces that I would throw away in my collage, which I didn't, or thoughts, or even dreams. For example, let's see, that first drawing was a dream. So it's a great place to capture dreams and memories, and just do not ever forget them. And sometimes bring some elements into them that would make them even more interesting, or make them more reflecting to ideas that you see in them. I've lost track of the time. Or sometimes thinking about exhibitions, like I did have a dream of an exhibition of how I would, oops, sorry, I need to do something with my power, sorry. Okay, the power of my computer. Sorry about that. Yes, I did dream of a show. So when I woke up, I just started drawing it of how I would put things in space. Or even keeping tracks of exhibitions, not even the thoughts of them, but also the feeling I have of them, or even trying to represent something that, of course, any kind of representation has a sense of critique. So it's not pure representation doesn't exist. Now, because I don't know how long I'm talking, I didn't put my timer on.
Continue without worrying.
Okay, okay. So, what I want to say, reaching that slide, is that, as I said before, having multiple roles in everyday life needs small revolts. And I believe this is the space to actually express them. And it's not only being able to do that as an artist. Artists are unfortunately very narcissistic, and they keep things to themselves. So I believe that everyone should do that, because it kind of shakes you up. Being able to feel that you go against something at that moment, which is your everyday routine, and you actually document something so small that can be so valuable. So I believe those small revolts that I am feeling every time I open my sketchbook are very important, because I can carry a mobile studio space with me, which is that small notebooks, or even larger, it depends on what bag I'm having every day. And I believe that it's a kind of personal salvation to be able to have them, but also keeps the mind thinking clearly, and being able to have a critical view of what's happening around the world. So it's not something simple, keeping a diary, a day diary, or a sketchbook, as artists say it. It's something more complex. And it's important because it allows to have your critical spirit awaken. And yes, so this is how I want to end the presentation. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I was very nervous, but thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Lena. It was really a very important experience for us. And thank you for getting into the mood to share it with us today. I understand perfectly well that it's not easy at all to share something so personal. I will just mention three things. First of all, I like the fact that you say that artists are narcissists. I will say that maybe our society today is the whole of it a narcissist, because if we stroll around social media, then we see that many people are artists. They are using all of the visual images and they share them with us. The second thing is that from the very valuable things you shared and said, which are important not only for the artists that they are today with us, but for all of us that we keep a visual journal, is that visual journals help us make our everyday living important. There are all these valuable moments that we don't want to kill time, as you said, and we really find a way to keep them in our minds and to record them. And when we return back and see what we have done in our everydays, we feel that we are doing something important and that we have lovely moments. Because usually during the day, we step into the negative and not into the positive. And the third thing that I really enjoyed as speaking about education is how well and ordinary in a line that all of the things that you have shown us can be used also by teachers in making a plan for themselves and for their students. I mean, the way you have really started from the very personal to exhibiting all that is a procedure that can be used from generalist teachers to art educators and all of us in our everyday lives. Thank you very much. Anybody that would like to say something straight away to Lena, or we will keep all of your questions at the end? Okay, then I will thank Lena again and ask Katerina to share from Limnos, a beautiful, beautiful island that we would love to be there right now.
Oh, I wish you would.
Her experiences.
Here I am.
Good morning, Lena.
Hello, everyone. I'm Katerina. I am an illustrator of children's books, and let me share my screen. A second.
Katerina, you should step a little bit closest to the microphone so that we can hear you better, I think. Yes, that's fine.
Oh, am I having trouble with this again? Oh, no. Martha, help me.
Now it's fine. We can hear you very well.
Do you mean your presentation?
Yes, that's what I mean.
I will do that for you. Just give me a second.
Well, thank you, thank you. I would like to say that I really, really enjoyed the previous presentations, and I'm not saying it just to say it, but Lena and Sophia and Dorotheos, really good points. And I would like to thank InSEA for giving me this opportunity. And okay, so thank you, Martha. I am terrible. Okay, so I have been keeping a traditional diary ever since I was quite young, and even when I was in school, and I would just, write and draw and sketch. And it was a very personal thing that, gave me, it gave me the way to express myself and better about things that were on my mind. And plus, to help me draw and paint. But the idea for this project of Art Made came to me when I moved to Limnos. Now, I've been working as an illustrator for many, many years. And illustration is a very, very, it could be a very rigid thing to work in because you have very definite things that you have to follow, the text and the publisher's wants and needs. Anyway, and I have painted many landscapes. I've drawn forests and jungles and fields and houses, but I was doing this from photo references. Okay, so when I came to Limnos, which is a very unique and a beautiful island, and I found myself in the landscape. I used to, travel a lot around the island, and I started to draw on site. Now, it's very different from using photo references. I mean, you have a landscape that's breathing all around you, it's living all around you. But that was very intimidating for me, okay? I found it very chaotic. I tried to put everything down on my page, and it was very bad for me because I couldn't draw anything. And it was very hard to take little points and just put them down in a very simple way. And then I got together with a few people, and I found that everybody goes out of their comfort zone when they deal with landscape. And I would like to deal with it in an abstracted way, but abstraction, as we know, is a very difficult thing to do. Okay, it's easier to go the literal way. So anyway, we used to get together with a few people, and this brought forth the idea of Art Made and the idea of bringing people together to explore a certain space, a certain landscape. And for me, Art Made is the two things that I love. It's making art and traveling. So, and connecting with others. And that's the most important part of it, because I find that our time is very dark. For me, I think for everyone, we can understand what is happening around us. And I think more than ever, it's time for people to be able to share things and feel comfortable in an environment that, embraces you. And because Limnos is a very unique place, a very old place, what happened to my thing?
I will show it right. I will show it straight away. They've asked me to do it in full screen.
But I can't see it. It's not there yet. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, Limnos is a very old place. It's I can feel that, and many people that have come here tell me that this is it has a very good energy, and it has many sites that we go to. It has a fantastic biological park with lava formations and ancient theater and Polyokni, which is the oldest parliament in Europe, and many other places. It's a study in color. We have the Salt Lake, which is just white expansions and white. Then we have the desert of Ramati, which is all siennas and ochres. And anyway, so we go around these places. And like I said before, it's pretty intimidating, the landscape itself. And what we do is, with ourselves, is first of all, discuss what we see and try to isolate the personal things that, you know, each one sees. And what do I want to say about this surrounding? What do I want to pinpoint? And I encourage people to deal with it in a very abstracted way, in a very simple way, in a free way. Just make marks, because I found that everyone has their own mark making. Okay, very particular. It's like our voice and our thought. Everyone is his own. So unfortunately, I have not kept, because I didn't know I was going to do this, presentations. Martha, I'm sorry.
I know that you, although I'm sharing it for a reason that I don't know, you are still all seeing.
Try it, Martha.
Just give me.
We see your screen, but it's okay. Don't worry. I mean, if it was something simple.
Is it now okay?
We can see the number of slides on the left side. So, but don't worry, it's not the full screen. It's
is it now a full screen to all of you?
No, no, it's not.
I can't move.
It's okay. No, Martha will be moving the slides. Martha, it's okay. Leave it as it was, and then Katerina can tell you go to the next slide. So Katerina, you cannot. If Martha is sharing, you cannot move it. So you just give a hit. Oh, Martha, now it's fine. Yes, great. Now it's the full screen.
Okay. I'm going to try and get my train of thought. Where was I? Okay, so one thing about these sketchbooks and the journals that we create is that they're very personal, and it's a way of documenting and keeping your memories, like Elena said before, and also we do try to use a lot of different media, mixed media, to help. We do people in cafes, and we do each other. Like I said before, unfortunately, these are my sketches from my sketchbooks, because I have not kept the participants' sketchbooks. They obviously took them with them. And so you'll have to see mine. It's a great way to go back and see what you have felt and what you have shared with people. It's a great way to see the sequence and the progress that you have made and evaluate your growth. Many times, for me, my first references from the things that we do on site will evolve into paintings. Now, this is like we stayed together for a week. And every day we go to a different place. We visit a different place on site. And like I said before, we sit down and discuss what it is that we find exciting about this landscape, what it is that we would like to say. And we do it right there. We, you know, a lot of people don't take too much color with them because it's easier to focus when you have few things to deal with. We use pen and ink and markers, and we use a lot of collage. So we visit all the sites, and then in the afternoon, and by the way, we stop for a swim and, you know, go to a cafe and eat and have a coffee or something. And Limnos is, it's unique because for me, Limnos is still off the grid in a type of way. It's not mainstream tourist place. It still has like an old world ambience, very small villages. And unfortunately, these villages are all crumbling away. And this is why I like to draw a lot of houses, because I feel that we're losing them. They're just, you know, going to waste. So after we do our on-site sketching and discussing, bonding, we do have in the afternoons studio time where we can go back and refine if we like, go on using our morning references. And I find that it's very bonding with people that share the same, you know, passion for art and for communication, to be able to have this 7 day week. We stay in a house which is a renovated cottage, an old cottage with a fantastic courtyard. And this is what it is, you know, visual journaling while traveling in a place and seeing it and experiencing is, you know, making memories that you can go back to. And for me, that's very important. And it has actually, ever since I started to do this, it has changed my style in illustration. It has put me in a different place. And of course, we all evolve, and that's a very good thing. So what else can I say? Maybe I forgot something. I do get nervous also when I have to speak to people. I think it's better to let artists sit with their sketchbooks and their blank page. Another thing is the blank page, which is so intimidating. We all know that. And usually when we go on site, we just take, you know, water and paint and just, you know, scribble all over the place to help us get free. And I cannot stress enough that this ArtMate project is for people to just feel free and to connect and to not have any stress. Seriously, we don't need more stress in our lives. And art making is joy. It's like living. And you know, this is what I want to work for. And thank you for letting me present my project. Thank you, Martha and InSEA and everybody. It was nice meeting you. Nice meeting you all. That's it.
Thank you very much, Katerina. One thing that I will note before we pass to the next one is that you, with your visual diaries, first of all, you gave a pathway to your creativity for yourself when you moved to Limnos. And you also found a good way to bind other people and start a kind of, let's say, informal professional community in art making, which is very important. And combining the visual diary with journals, I mean, with journaling, with really traveling, makes them, I think, a very appreciated part of visual journals, a kind of category on its own. In my visual journal of today's webinar, I will certainly add the rooster that we heard while you were talking, which was really something very nice, a very good addition from the island of Limnos, along with, I know Victoria also liked it, the fact that you mentioned that you go for swimming, coffee, etc., while you're visual journaling. Thank you very much for that. I would like Maria, if she is ready, to make a visual comment on visual journals herself. And at the end, I will show you Morex from Scotland, COVID long-term COVID journal that she has sent for all of you, and you can then discuss all what you heard. Thank you again, Katerina. Maria?
Thank you, Martha. I would like to thank the presenters. It is really very refreshing, all those interesting ideas for teaching and art practice. It's really fascinating. And I would like also thank InSEA for organizing this webinar. As you know, I'm the secretary of the ERC, and I'm a visual artist myself. And what I would like to add in this interesting discussion about visual journaling is that the new curriculum for primary school, we are going to have the new curriculum that I was very happy to participate in the working with the colleagues. We work together to produce a very interesting curriculum that in which the sketchbook and visual journaling is included as a separate direction of this curriculum. And in particular, we propose the sketchbook as a teaching tool and as an artistic tool for students to approach art as a research practice. And also, I would like to refer a very interesting book that we will have in Greek now. It is art practice method as art. This is the Greek translation of this book. It is a wonderful work of Patricia Levy, an American colleague that I was very happy to meet her and translate her book in Greek. In this book, you can find relevant information how we can use artistic tools like sketchbook and visual journaling in pedagogical research, in artistic research, and also in autoethnography research. So I'm looking forward for next steps in artistic research. And thank you again for all this wonderful morning, Saturday morning, very inspiring morning.
Thank you, Maria. Before opening the discussion, as I've told you, I will share Morax, and please let me know whether you all see it as you should. Is that okay? Do you all, okay? I will try also to. Do you all see it now?
It's not full screen. We can, if you want it full screen, it's not.
Not even now? Because I see them full screen. I don't know why they are not shared with you.
We also see the small, you know.
Yeah, but I can see the full screen for a reason. I am not sure why.
Stop sharing, start the full screen and then share this full screen.
Okay, I will do that. Oops. Everything vanished. I will share that again. Okay.
We have all become experts, let's say, in Zoom meetings, unfortunately.
Is it something now that you see?
You have to share now.
Okay. As a matter of fact, I cannot do what Ernst was saying, because if I start it myself, Ernst, then you.
Don't worry, do it as it was before. We can still see it.
Okay.
But then stop your own full screen so that you can navigate.
Yes, I don't have a full screen myself. I see what you see, but when I start it, then unfortunately, you don't see it now.
We can see your presentation.
Okay. But we will remain with that so that we won't lose time. It's okay.
Yeah.
Morag Thompson Merriman she is a Scottish contemporary mixed artist. She was invited to present her visual diary, which she kept during lockdown. And I thought that her experience would be important in order to have a circle of different experiences for a person that keeps a notebook and a sketchbook naturally as an artist, but in the period of lockdown, this became really a pathway for her feelings. And I will show you some of the images she shared, along with her Instagram account, where you can see her visual journal, and she updates it all the time. And I will read what she has written for all of you by welcoming you at this webinar and her visual diary. So what I will be reading is Morag's words. I produce mostly small-scale, layered mixed media landscape pieces on paper, inspired and guided by memories and sense of place. I tear up older, larger-scale work of art on paper into smaller pieces to rework and manipulate to create new layered finished A6 or smaller pieces to reinforce concept of physical, emotional, and spiritual layering from the past and present. The photos show two small A6 Hennemüller sketchbooks that I had bought several years ago. One is unused, as you will see, one is unused, pristine and neat, and the other is battered, engorged, and distorted. During the first lockdown in 2020, I made a decision to create a lockdown sketchbook based on my memories of landscape, past and present. And this is the used, of course, sketchbook. And I wanted it to be an initiative response to what I remembered. Crucially, as it had to come from deep within, it meant I had to let go of my fears concerning topographical accuracy for this project. For this project, I decided to use one of these two A6 sketchbooks I bought. I closed the one I started sketching in previously, but these sketches had meant nothing to me, and it was going nowhere. I gave myself permission to paint over them partially, leaving some marks as shadows. The memory shifted and I paused. Then it began. I started dancing back and forth across all pages, building layers, building memories, marking, adapting, tearing. Texture surfaces started appearing. A new memory triggered by fresh marks on a page would trigger another elsewhere in the sketchbook, and so further layers were created again and again. It was exhausting, it was exhilarating, it was addictive. The more I worked in A6 sketchbook, the more my work spread over and around the edges of the paper, causing them to buckle and undulate like a geographical cross section of a landscape. Some pages are so thick through manipulation that they are as thick and as stiff as cardboard. The spine had shifted and stressed this sketchbook that doesn't close. If you would like to see more of my lockdown sketchbook, and I have her Instagram, let me, where do I, here. Okay, if you would like to see more of my lockdown sketchbook and the 55 landscape memories created within, you can visit my Instagram account. And I suggest to all of you, this is something that I say, not Morag. Morag also has sent me the links, is that you can visit our colleagues and collaborators also in CARE, the Access Art, and Andrea Butler. And she is also, she has been offering, and they all have been offering their visual diaries along with wonderful material that art educators can use. Andrea, if you visit also her account in Instagram, you will see the work. And I wanted to share that with all of you since we could not have them here today. So, questions, comments, anything from this visual journal that we started today together? I won't ask any of you to share your sketches from today with all of us. I hope that you will keep them and you won't leave unrecorded this beautiful session. Any comments that you would like to share? And Andy, please take the step and say all this important thing that you say about InSEA and InSEA so that they can hear you also. Andy has written that you should visit the InSEA and join the professional educational community. I think it's important, and those webinars are also important for all of us.
Can I?
Please.
Me? Can I ask a question?
Yes, Lena. Yes, yes.
Thank you all for listening. I would like to ask Dorotheos, what was the difference in, I mean, how did they experience the students doing in parallel a visual diary on paper and on the web? As I understood, did you do it, or did they go through the process of making it on the web? And what do you feel was the difference of their expression changing the medium?
Yeah. The funny part is that for us it's different because they have already made a digital identity. Our students are more acquainted with computers. For us, it's difficult to handle new technologies and digital literacy.
Mm-hmm.
They are all aware of programs. They all handle iPads and computers. So for them, it was something really fun. They also helped to make their journals. They made posts and they made comments. It was really difficult for my students that were my senior students, meaning at the second chance school, high school. At primary school, it was fun. It was really fun. They do not mind changing the medium, from paper to computer.
Mm-hmm.
For the seniors, it was really difficult because some of them did not have email. Some of them do not know how to use a cell phone. But for small students, especially for primary school, they already make a digital identity for themselves. It was fun.
Do you think they prefer it? They prefer the digital to the handwriting?
It is a tricky question. I think they love everything that is digital. They love everything that is digital, but as educators and parents, we must find the balance, because the field experience is something unique.
Yes.
And it is something that they lost the experience if they stay only in the digital environment. And we must keep a balance.
Can I come in? Just a comment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always about the affordances of a medium. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in every medium that we have and we give,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's clay or if it is drawing or if it is painting or now if it is digital, I mean, depends on the medium and the program that you are using if it is a digital. So it's not the one over the other. I think it's that just to have, experiences with all the mediums, and then they can choose which one serves them better for a specific reason. I mean, for you, Lena, the time you were outside the post office, it was the phone, because that was the best medium to use because of the affordances at that time. I find it interesting of how to bring the different medium together. This I think there is a space to discuss of how to bring them all together. And I don't know if others want to share something on that.
And if I may, I want to comment something about Lena. It was fantastic how she was some kind of time traveling when she was seeing again her art making and the pictures. And for me, it was something really beautiful. This thing, she was keeping the pictures, and after that, she was reading them again in her journals. It was something really nice, because in art we have 3 times. The first one is the concept of making an artwork. The second one is art making, the time of art making. And the third one is the time when we conceive the artwork. And it was really beautiful, Lena.
Thank you both. Victoria, we keep your question open, how we can combine all that and make the process, let's say, a nice mixture of what we can hold in the ways and the classic, the traditional ones, which I presume it's a matter of training, of course, to train them to handle the ones that they are making, and then scan them and keep them together in a visual form, or print the visual form, but maybe somebody is more experienced to give other ideas. I will now ask Andrea to comment.
Very much, and thank you to all the speakers who have been absolutely inspiring this morning. I think it's a really interesting question, the question about the digital versus the physical. And if I can just say, in our experience, I'm an art educator, I'm teaching primary teachers. So we use visual journaling as a form of assessment. And what really has jumped out at me this morning is all of the speakers have mentioned the freedom of the sketchbook, and the other thing that jumped out at me is that it's a private space. Lena especially was saying, oh, I don't know, like I'm sharing this, but it's the first time I've shared this. And there is a bit of a tension there between the kinds of things that we would love students to do with the visual art sketchbook and the form of assessment. So I just thought it would be interesting to throw that in the mix this morning. And also we've grappled over COVID with the digital and the physical. We started with a physical journal, which was scanned, but we found the quality wasn't equal among all students because they didn't photograph it well or scan it or whatever. So the next time we did a digital journal, but it really was a PowerPoint presentation. The quality of the images that they took was really good, but you lose that lovely spontaneity that you get in a sketchbook. So, but thank you so much. But it is an interesting and very current. I loved the presentation of the little vignette from the tree slightly moving alongside the presentation of a physical journal. It was, if we could get to there, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. I think you posed a very important question that we all consider when we use visual journals also in assessment. I am facing also such a difficulty because I'm using it with my university students. I don't want them to lose all that kind of freedom. So what I have, let's say, invented is a journal day that we all, considering me myself, if we wish to, we bring our journals and we pass the whole day just showing whichever pages and whatever from the journals wish to share with the others. And the assessment is not based on showing what we are doing, but majorly on creativity and the process. That's what I'm trying this year, because I didn't want to press them to bring their visual journals all time and share all their thoughts, even if they didn't wish to, just to be assessed. I will give now Sophia and then Ernst.
I would like to continue the questions that we said to Dorotheos, because I'm also a teacher, and I would like to know if the children, they can express more easily through digital visual journals, and not only about the handling easier, but if they can express easier using the media instead of the just writing down on paper, for example.
May I answer? Sophia, may I answer? Okay.
Yes. What you notice?
Digital literacy is something that they are aware of, my students, but there are a lot of steps that they are missing from the procedure if we stay only to the digital media. For me, we must make a statement. It is really crucial for me to make them understand and to have a mindset about the procedure, and then we can give them some time to make a digital trace. If we stay only in the digital, we will lose a lot of the steps. For example, in the pandemics, I want to make a art lesson about comic and illustration, and it is totally different to make an animation and to sketch figure, and it's totally different to use a computer program about illustration. We can understand the difference for our students. I think it's really, I think we must protect them. And because they are going to lose a lot of the feeling and from the procedure. And that's why the digital part, it's not something they do in the class. I want to make these posts after class. That's why something like a whole different thing in the procedure, posting, something like a digital evaluation, because they have the chance to showcase what they do, and then they have the chance to see what they do digitally, like viewers. But for the seniors, it was for the older students, it was a different thing, because they were afraid of making a statement in their art journals. They were even afraid to write something, because they had the feeling that they would make something wrong. They had the evaluation all the time in their heads.
This is the problem, because they lose the sense of the freedom that we spoke before. Like this step of it's evaluation, but at the same time you have to express yourself. And
Sophia, I think everything starts because in Greece our schools are oriented in grades. That's the problem. That's the problem. It is not a class, an art class in a laboratory, because we are in at school classes. They think that everything is oriented in grades, and this is a problem. We have to change this mentality, especially in Greek schools. Okay, and as an educator, I'm about 15 years in schools. I love that I say something, I project something, and the thing they understand is something different, and they have the magic power, our students, to transform this and to own the information. And this thing makes us as educators, I think, better. It helps us. Okay, I think this is the beautiful part in art practice as well, in our classes.
Thank you, Dorotheos. Thank you, Sophia. Just a comment to your question, Sophia, at the beginning. It is different to present a variety of ways to keep a visual journal, but we should never reinforce them to use, I think, one or another, because all artists and all creative beings, we are free to use for our expression whatever media suits us in any time. One day we can use something that helps us, and this might be clay or watercolor, and another day we might feel like using a photo that we have taken with our digital phone, so with our digital camera. So we should expose them to the variety of ways, but then we should let them free, I think. Ernst wanted to say something. I don't know if he's still...
Yeah, I just would like to share 3 thoughts, also in connection with what you, Martha, just said. I admired so much at this wonderful presentation, so thank you all. This huge richness of different roles or functions what a visual diary could have. So I think this is very essential, to not to focus on one aspect, but to see these different roles in respect to memory, in respect to imagination, in respect to confronting with social issues, what you are aware of in everyday life, and so on. So to have all these different functions in mind, I think this is which is perhaps really unique for a visual diary. And this corresponds and is exactly what Martha, you just said, and this is my second thought, is to have these different media and different options that the different media offers, that you have to continue with a kind of flexibility, to look at which role this visual reflection has, and then to look for an appropriate medium. I think to have a correlation between what the function is and the medium, I think this is very essential, and to keep the flexibility. And this gives me the bridge to my third thought, which was by Andrea addressed in respect to privacy and freedom. I would address this freedom and privacy in respect again to a kind of that a visual diary is not the final work of art. So it is something which is in a process. It is a dynamic thing. It doesn't address the final work of art. It doesn't express an exhibition or something like this. It's just something preliminary, and I think this flexibility and this preliminarity, I think this is essential for this visual diaries. And again, thank you all for your wonderful presentations that enrich our vision of what a visual diary could be. So thank you again. It was more a comment than a question.
A very important comment coming from your experience as both an artist and an art educator. So we all share experiences, both from ourselves and from what we have seen from our students, which is it's carrying other people's visual journals today with us, with all the things that we have seen through all these years of work. So I get a very important word, flexibility and freedom of expression. And I think that flexibility makes, as a matter of fact, the difference of having a diary that we keep them every now and then, with a visual journal that we take everywhere, in the sense that by being free to use any media, we might not have the actual diary with us, but as Lena has shown and all of us know, and we have been doing it, we can use any media. We can be in a restaurant and we can sketch something on the paper tablecloth and just take this piece of paper with us and then glue it on our journal at home, or we might walk in the wood and just take pieces from nature and add them in there. This is part of what we should teach them, that we shouldn't have always the book with us. It's that procedure that we carry on, the fact that we want to do visual journaling, we want to get into that kind of inspirational creativity. Any other comments, or we will end up for today? Anybody else that would like? I don't hear and I don't see any hands. Katerina, you have to be closer to the microphone.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's fine.
Something wrong. I don't want to really pose any questions. I wanted to say that it's flexibility is the key word, as Ernst said, and you pointed out. And the other word that we don't need is rigid, things to set our minds down. I think it's very important for each person to find their medium, the one that they feel comfortable with. I'm a hands-on person myself, but okay. And I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed this today, and how much I learned a lot of things, from the other speakers, and it was nice. I enjoyed being here very, very much. And I want to go and draw now. I want to open my
invite us to Limnos.
You're all invited. Please.
We should have a hugging webinar, not a webinar.
Yes, we should.
Visual journaling. Katerina, that's why we brought you here. We wanted an invitation.
You just have to find me. I'm here. I'm always here. Everybody knows me. Come and find me. We'll have a great time, seriously. And I'd like to thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Anybody else? Okay.
If nobody else, I would like to ask Andy perhaps to advertise not only Limnos, but also InSEA.
Yeah, I'm very, very happy to.
Closing comment.
Can you hear me okay, Ernst? Okay, I just wanted to say, just make one observation, I think, and I think it hasn't been mentioned, but I think it's kind of implicit. So I just wanted to sort of raise it, and that's the importance of that relationship between making as a practice and teaching as a practice. I just wanted to make that sort of relationship, because all of us have talked about our own practice and talked about the importance of coming together and sharing. And I totally agree with Katrina, the importance to celebrate at this moment in time, to be supportive and to be able to sort of inspire is really important. But I was also thinking about that in terms of that as practice for our learners, whichever contexts we work in. So thinking about exploring those principles as teaching as an artistic practice, thinking about those kind of relationships of how our practice can work with our daily contexts, our different learners, and the importance to our learners of that, how they are stimulated, how they are inspired, how they become impacted by your practice as an artist, by your sort of relationship to your own creative practice. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, but also the importance of the community. Again, it's self-evident that coming together like today, being able to share, being able to hear, being able to sort of to celebrate, as I said, people's work is really important as a community. It's really important for us in terms of how we see ourselves, our own identity, but it's really important in terms of how we continue to develop in these areas, in these fields, which are not normally supported in our day-to-day perhaps roles. So I think that's really important, and that's why I wanted to stress the importance of this, not just this moment, but actually continually working with somebody like the ERC and InSEA, so that these opportunities obviously are sort of part of your professional development, part of your everyday, part of the way that you begin to grow and continue to work. So that's all I wanted to say. I've put the link to InSEA in the chat if people wanted to look at that. So please feel free to join us again on another occasion. And well done, everybody. Thank you, Martha.
Wendy, we will keep on journaling when you come to Thessaloniki. Promise that. I want diaries with all of you. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks, InSEA, for giving us the step to have this fruitful and creative discussion on visual journaling. And keep on journaling. Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Bye.